One thing I want to tell you guys is I started out as a blogger. I was in your position,
yeah,
and nobody would listen to me. I go talk to Pedigo and talk to them. I go, you can't do this battery in a rear rack thing. They still do that. I go, build it into the frame. You know what I mean?
I know.
And nobody'd listen to me. They go, oh, that's that electricbike.com guy. He writes negative reviews. And I go, you know what? I'm gonna show these guys.
Yeah,
you know
here you go. Okay, so you were tinkering with bikes in San Francisco, but somehow you got to the LA area and you created this business. So how did that all happen?
So I had gotten divorced in San Francisco, and my life was in turmoil. I was riding bikes, to basically get out of the depression of getting over this terrible divorce. And I met Ashley here in LA, and I'd get her to come to San Francisco a few times to do these epic rides with me. One time she had a bike catch on fire, which is a funny story, and because the batteries were so bad back then, and there was a big need for what we ended up doing. When I got to LA with Ashley, I wanted to stay in LA, but I was kind of bored in LA, nothing to do. And I started building electricbike.com while I was in LA. And because LA has all these electric bike stores. So I'd go to the electric bike stores. One is here in El Segundo called eBikes LA. And they would let me test ride the bikes, and I would have constant material to do reviews on that stuff. And a lot of the electric bike companies like Pedigo are out here. So I'd get to go. Pedigo was giant back then. They're selling these crappy bikes for expensive. And I go and check out their operation and interview them, stuff like that. Ashley and I, we started working on building a store for electricbike.com, and people in the electric bike community heard we were doing it, and they thought it was unfair that we're going to take this, site that's known as a blogging or a website and turn it into a store. And they guilt tripped me for it. So we started Lunicycle on its own domain, out of a house. We're in a small house in Hawthorne, and we're selling the parts. And I had a lot of big battery connections, so we were bringing a lot of battery cells. So one of the first things we started to do is building our own batteries and selling kits with our batteries in them. And it turned out there was a tremendous need for that, and it took off.
So you started with making these kits, and then what was the catalyst point where you were like, okay, I can go from these kits to then getting to the bike standpoint?
The bikes to be honest, when we first started doing the bikes, it didn't make any sense. You almost wanted to stop, because selling bikes is pretty tough. Because when you're selling the kits, the customer has to put all this together. A lot of the liability is on them, that kind of stuff. But when you start doing bikes, and especially when you're doing bikes mail order, there were a lot of hurdles to get over. Shipping bikes, number one, is very, very hard.
Yeah.
Very expensive, very hard. And the other big, having the bike built well enough and packed well enough so when the customer got it, they could write it out of the box. So that all that were big hurdles. And I figured out that 90% of our energy was going into the bikes, and it wasn't 90% of our sales. And bikes take a lot of space. You know what I mean? So we're dealing with all these issues. And at first we were doing conversion bikes, and it was a big pain in the ass, and I almost wanted to stop with it. But I talked to my guys about it, some of my most trusted guys, and they go, I'm not gonna lie, it feels good having the bikes around. And it makes the website look amazing, having these sexy bikes. Because we'd build nice bikes and we'd have them on the website. So even though we weren't selling a lot of them, it didn't make any sense for the money we were making and how much. It was like 90% of our support cases and that kind of thing. And you know what? It felt good to have badass bikes around. And if we're just selling bike parts, it's not that sexy. We wouldn't be the Lunicycle we are today. When you come in and you see all these bikes, it's pretty damn impressive.
Yeah.
Whereas when we're just parts dealers, and also, I don't know, maybe I have a fragile ego. I didn't like people in the industry saying, oh, he's just a do-it-yourself guy. You're just a do-it-yourself. You're just a do-it-yourself vendor. You're not a bike dealer. I go, well, we're selling these bikes. So that caused us to go, because when we're selling conversion bikes, that didn't count somehow. So that caused us to go the full, bike to where, now we're a significant brand and serious bike sellers.
And you guys, so I want to hear a little bit more about your relationship with Surron, because you guys, for the longest time, and correct me if I'm wrong, you were the sole Surron dealer for the whole North American market.
I mean, we
right?
still are. We're we're the sole distributor. So we're selling to other people because now we have enough bikes to sell to other people. So we sell bikes to other dealers. People don't know we do that. But we do that. And we have sold many bikes to other dealers this year. And we've worked with Surron. We have a very good relationship with Surron.
How did that start?
I got a hold of a sample bike, and I was really impressed with it. And that's it. And you know what? It was not an easy thing to do because, if you want an exclusive deal on something like this, I had to risk our whole company. And I thought the bike was good enough to risk the whole company on.
Wow.
Because it's not just you buy just a container of bikes. It's not like that. We have to be on a production schedule. So we had to be on a container a month. And if bikes aren't selling, you can't stop the flow. You've got to keep coming up with the money. All the bikes are paid for in advance before they're released from customs. Even to get the order started, you're putting up 50% of the order. And it wasn't so fun back then because we had to deal with all the growing pains of Surron. The first bikes had a ton of problems. We had a batch of bikes that they had to come out here and replace all the motors on 200 bikes. And it was an absolute nightmare. And the bikes weren't selling that well then. So now they're selling and everybody wants to be on the Surron train. But back then it was really difficult, and we really suffered as a business where we could have been building our own bikes, and all of our money, all of our resources are going into building the Surron brand. And you know what? It worked out, but it could have gone a lot worse.
Oh, for sure. That was a big risk to take.
But I'm glad we did. I remember offering it to other people back then. Like trusted friends who I thought would do a better job than we could. I go, do you want this Surron deal? And nobody would touch it. And I had people lecture me that we were going to screw everything up. And it could have gone really bad because it really wasn't. Surrons were not the hot thing that they are now for the first 2 years.
I feel like you guys kind of made it the
yeah, we built the Facebook groups and all that stuff, and we got them in the right hands of the right influencers. And Surron counts as a hot product in the country right now. Everybody seems to want one. There's so many people in this business who are angled on the investor conning of it. Like their intention is just to go public somehow and make a ton of money. But to me, it's all about the challenges of making a great product in a time where most of our competitors really suck bad. Really suck bad. I could take a break for 2 or 3 years and they want to catch up to us, in my mind. Like they might be ahead of us in marketing or bullshitting, but in terms of making a good product, no. Like I haven't seen any electric bike products that blow me away. Outside of Sondors. Sondors does amazing stuff. You know what I mean? Like Sondors is great.
Motorcycle?
I think it's great. I think it's awesome. It looks great. I actually am trying to buy one right now because I want to put a badass controller on it and see what it will do.
Call up Storm. Hey, get a bike over here.
Hey, so that's interesting. I forgot about this part. So when I came in, it was about the same time as Sondors. And one of my first ideas was selling upgrade batteries and controllers to his bikes. And I sold thousands of them. It was like a huge boost. Like when I got word of that, I go, you know what? Everybody was that $500 bike was controversial, right?
Oh,
I go, that thing looks beautiful. So I'm gonna he was doing it with a 36 volt pack. I make a 48 volt pack and a controller upgrade package for it. And I sold thousands of those, like thousands of those. Like if everything ever gets bad for me, I'll just go to selling upgrade parts for Sondors and for Surrons. It'd be easy. If all else fails. But it's amazing how much opportunity there is. Here's this disruptor, Sondors, who's making this great product for a really great price, right? And you can just do upgrade parts and make a killing. And it was really that easy. And you know what? Nobody picked up the slack of what we were doing then. I haven't noticed really. Maybe Bolton eBikes or some small vendor is doing it too. But there's a ton of potential for upgrading, or not just upgrading, but for the products in this business to get better and better. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like the Bafang motors aren't all that. And there isn't any great motor system that really stands out right now for doing what we want to do. And Bafang hasn't improved on their stuff since we've been in the business. For 7 years, the BBS HD has been the exact same thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
they released a new one. It's just a fancier new case that It's not even better. Like it doesn't
Exterior
fit right.
design.
Yeah, they did an
improvement.
exterior design. But I'm saying is like it's amazing how lazy these companies get, and
get
comfortable. Giant. Like Bafang, when we met them, there were 2 guys on a little folding table at Interbike, and now like the last Interbike, they sponsored the whole damn thing.
Massive.
You know,
yeah.
like they're massive, and they're still selling the same crappy stuff they were selling 5 years ago. It's ridiculous, and they just hire more and more salespeople. You know, and you know what I mean? And that's the problem. That's the problem, is this business is just too many marketeers and not enough engineers. That's the biggest problem.
That is interesting. So, well, what is the next thing? Is there technology that you guys are...
I think that what's going to change everything that doesn't exist is what Sondors started out in the beginning, doing an affordable bike for everyone. You know, and that doesn't exist right now. You know, people are starting to get there. Like the $1,600 Rad Power bike is a pretty good deal for $1,600. But, you know, that bike should be under $1,000. And, you know, like, and, you know, I don't know if it's us who's going to do that, but some new company can do it, you know. And I hope it's not just a Chinese company selling through Amazon or something, but that looks where it's going. Because like when I go to Costco and I see a $300 bike that's pretty decent, or the one you had on your...
my Mac wheel. Yeah.
When I saw your, I was really impressed with that video that you guys did with Sandy Munro and the reviewing of all the bikes, because I never see that. Like nobody talks about this $500 bike that's so good. Like you had some good bikes there, you know what I mean? And Sandy's like, how the hell did they make that for $500? But that's what's going to change everything, is when somebody goes to the next level and they make a bike that everybody can afford.
So what's the next step for Luna Cycle?
We're going to keep doing what we're doing, which is high quality, high performance stuff. I'm not interested in the cheap stuff. So I don't think we'll ever do a $1,000 bike. We're working on our own motor system, and we're working on a 72 volt X3. So in the future, and what I want to do, my goal is to make a pedal bike, mountain bike, that's as fast as a Surron and half the weight. So, and you know what, it's easy to do. It's not that hard to do. So we're working on bikes, prototype bikes right now with as much power as a Surron, because you know the Surron's great because it's just an affordable 40-mile-an-hour bike. That's it. You know what I mean? But it's too big, and it's not that hard to do something that heavy, you know, at that speed. You know what I mean? I mean, Teleria came out with one that's an exact copy, and they did it. So, you know, if they did it, another company can do it. You know, it's not really that hard. But what's hard is to make something that's fast and lightweight. If you can have something that's 50, 60 pounds and does 30 miles an hour, 40 miles an hour, that's pretty special.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so that's really what our goal is to keep, you know, like, and I think there's a lot of room for improvement. You know, like I think that, you know, like we see a lot of improvements to be made on our products. So we have a long ways to go to make that perfect bike.
So you mentioned that getting people to work here is kind of the hard part, is actually getting them to come here. But then when they come here, how do you retain them? Because you have a really awesome team, it seems, so far, the people that we've met here, and they're pretty amazing at what they do. So
we've been really lucky, and most of our key guys have been with us from the very beginning. And usually what we do is we just offer to pay them better than everybody else. Like I'm pretty sure, and that was a good thing about doing bikes. Like we were able to bring Kyle on. You know, he's our top mechanic, and he was a specialized mechanic, very great mechanic, and we offered him a crazy salary to come work for us. I'm sure he's the highest paid bicycle mechanic in the country. So a lot of it is that once you have somebody really good, you want to give them the money to keep them. You know, it's as simple as that. So some of our engineers we pay over $200,000 a year to.
Wow.
Because the engineers, people are literally trying to poach. You know, if you have a top mechanical engineer, top electrical engineer, everybody wants them. You know, so those guys.
Especially nowadays, it's like, since everyone is getting either into the e-bike game or even just generally speaking, like batteries are becoming the hot gold rush. Yeah,
so we had one of the top battery engineers in the world on our team, you know, who's worked on the Ferrari packs or worked on the, you know, aerospace packs for Boeing or something, and he was just incredible. And he designed all our batteries, and you know, helped us set up our factory line, stuff like that. And you know, we not only need that, we need a top mechanical engineer, and we need a top electrical engineer. So right now we got a badass electrical engineer who, you know, we're really lucky to have. And those top engineer guys are are really valuable to us because in a way that's our marketing. Now one thing we don't have on this team is we don't have a single marketing person. We don't have a social media person. I do all the social media posts, and we don't have a salespeople. You know, all of our support people are support people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you're creating a brand that gets enough attention for itself that the marketing is kind of taking care of itself.
You know, like if we ever get in trouble, I can just start hiring a sales team. But right now, like I said, we're still developing our products and we still think we got a long ways to go to get our bikes better. And imagine, I think I could take a break for 3 years and all those haters and our competitors would not catch up to us. Like they would not figure out what we've got them figured out. Because we help the vendors, we help Surron figure out what the problems are. When we have a problem with the Surron, we don't just send it back to them. Like if the battery's broken, we take it apart and fix it.
Figure it out, yeah.
We fix it. So there are other vendors they're dealing with, you know, they're a pain in the ass. I don't like selling to dealers because they're asking the most basic questions and all this hand holding and stuff, and we end up like fixing all their problems. So it's not so easy with these companies like Surron, who's based in China, that, oh, we just need like 50 extra batteries every time there's a bad one. You know, or if the motor fries, we're gonna know what caused it. You know, was it the rotary encoder came undone, you know, came unglued or something, or was it the controller? Like we have the skills to figure it out and help them through it. You know what I mean? Because the last thing you want is a product that you're sending out thousands of, they're going to start being sent back. Because, you know, it's not so easy to ship a bike back. You know what I mean? You know, so it's one of the real challenges in our business.
Taking it apart and put it together and...
So it's actually a really difficult business when you figure the logistics of everything, and just figuring out shipping bikes was so tough. You know, and getting the rates we needed to do that affordably. You know, like if you go to FedEx and say you want to ship this bike, they'll just tell you no. It's been a really challenging business, but we've been blessed with finding amazing people early on. You know, we lost one of those guys, one of our top guys, in a plane that he built. He built his own electric plane and ended up dying in it. And that happened recently, and he was one of probably our top guy, our top engineer, and losing him was a big blow. But, you know, other than that, it's been pretty smooth. When we started selling fast electric bikes, people, you don't know what's going to happen. Not only is it risky, like people could get killed on them, you don't know which law enforcement officer is going to come knocking on your door. And we did get some visits from federal agencies and big trucks early on in the business for things you wouldn't expect, you know, but it's a tremendously risky business to take on. And the way I was able to do it is I simply didn't own anything when I started it and had nothing to lose. And it was super simple, because, you know, they can't take anything from you if you don't have anything. So, you know, that's the way that I do it, is just stay free and liability free means just don't have a lot of money they can come after. And, you know, like everything we have, we've reinvested into this. You know, like I think we just got really lucky, because I know that comes in the future, that that a big part of this business is defending yourself in lawsuits and stuff.
Scale.
Because, I mean, let's be honest and not sugarcoat it. I mean, all e-bikes are dangerous, and right now we're taking a proactive stance of putting warning stickers on all our bikes. We don't want kids riding our bikes. You know what I mean? Like under 16, no. You know what I mean? Like if they want to go do it, it's fine, but we're gonna say we don't agree with that. We're gonna warn parents. These aren't toys, you know? You know, like I wouldn't want my 16-year-old riding or 15-year-old riding to school on one, you know? And I think that's one of the biggest problems the industry's facing right now, is groups of hoodlum kids, like biker gangs in rich areas. And I know that's a big problem in Orange County right now. And I can see why, like, you know. So we're trying to do what we can to, you know, be safe and be legal, you know, and it's a pretty dangerous business. And now we got guys, it's like, it's hard to take them serious, the new guys, like Super 73 and, you know, like, who are some of the hot ones right now?
I've been seeing a lot of growth, but also it just seems like naturally there's got to be some consolidation that's going to happen.
I mean, it's always been like this. Companies come and go, and there's been very few companies to stand the test of time. I mean, we've been here 7 years, and I'm really happy for it, because eventually, you know, I think going back to the safety thing, eventually you're just going to get buried with lawsuits. Eventually, you know, eventually that's going to happen, or you're going to have a product recall, you just can't afford or something, but something always happens and these guys disappear quietly. And I mean, seriously, all the competitors I was worried about 5 years ago are gone now, like just gone. But I'm saying it's like that's why I don't worry about competition now, because it just seems like they just come and go.
Changing, yeah.
And all you got to do is just worry about your own thing. Really, like I feel like we're on our own. We're out there with a machete blazing a trail. It's pretty exciting to me because I love to see, you know, good, well-priced, fast e-bikes on the market. I love that. You know what I mean? And I think it's good for the industry. You know, like I think the industry for too long has been appealing to seniors. And it's about time that, like, you know, there's a class of bikes that are sexy to 30-year-olds or 20-year-olds, or, you know, we got Justin Bieber like posing on his album cover on one of our bikes, and we didn't pay him to do that. You know,
it's amazing.
And you know, that's what I dreamed of way back then. It's like, you know, we're going to make e-bikes cool. Like, we're going to make them cool. We're going to make young people going to want to be seen on them, because frankly, the stuff that existed 5 years ago was ugly and stupid. And it's just not going to last if it doesn't look great, because you know there's like if people are going to take this thing and invest in it and put it in their garage, you know, and take all the space that an e-bike does, they want something cool.
Yeah, they want to appreciate it when they look at it.
So
and be like,
I really think
choice.
There's a lot of room for cool bikes. I mean, I know there's us. I know Specialized is making cool bikes, and there's just a handful of other bikes that I feel even threatened by.
Well, thank you so much, Eric, for taking the time. I loved hearing your backstory about how you got here. I mean, what a journey, and the amount of risk that you took. Pretty incredible. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. And until next time, drive, fly, ride. Go electric.